This is a Fox News alert. I'm Marianne Rafferty. The U.S. is launching a third round of strikes in southern Iran at this hour after Iran struck another ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran says it was navigating an unapproved route and that the vital waterway is now closed until further notice. The U.S. confirming a civilian crew member is missing and the Cyprus-flagged vessel is unable to continue its journey due to fire and extensive damage. This latest attack following a week of escalating strikes between the two countries, both President Trump and Iran's supreme leader also issuing ominous threats. Meantime, mediators are racing to revive peace talks. Iran's foreign minister met with his Omani counterpart earlier today on the strait and also where peace talks stand. A U.S. official says negotiations cannot progress until the waterway is secure. I'm Marianne Rafferty. Now back to My View with Lara Trump.
Good evening. Hope you're having a great Saturday night. Welcome back to My View. For 47 years, Iran has chanted death to America. For 6 years, Iran has chanted death to Trump. In January 2020, President Trump took out Iran's most powerful military commander, Qasem Soleimani, a man who emboldened and empowered militant terror groups, a man responsible for the loss of millions of lives. January 2020 was just the start of Iran's quest for revenge. This week, Iranians carried a Kill Trump banner at the funeral of the late Ayatollah Khamenei. And according to Israeli intelligence, there's a new plot to do just that. So when you wonder why we're in Iran, look at these images. The radical members of the regime and their supporters don't want peace and harmony. They want death and destruction. And if anyone has a chance in putting an end to their reign of terror once and for all, it's President Trump.
I think what you did last night was absolutely necessary. It was a very strong response, and I'm with you on this. It's really important.
While talks are still ongoing, the U.S. was forced to retaliate against Iranian aggression, and NATO allies are finally coming around on the need for action. No matter which path we must go down, this president and his administration are ready to do whatever it takes. NATO Ambassador Matt Whitaker is part of that mission, and he joins me now. Ambassador, thank you so much for being with me. I want to start with the intelligence we just talked about coming out of Israel that points to a new Iranian assassination plot against President Trump. And the president said himself that they want to take out the U.S. leader. The White House says that talks are possibly still happening, but is that a little hard when we see a "We Will Kill Trump" banner flying?
Yeah, Laura, it is really disappointing, but not unexpected. And, you know, they're not going to be successful. Obviously, President Trump is an icon. He is the president of the United States. Most importantly, is the leader of the free world. And what he's doing in Iran and in the broader Middle East is fundamentally changing things for the better, diminishing proxy groups that Iran has control of. And obviously, he has impacted in a significant way the Iranian regime. And so I think ultimately the United States will be successful, and you know, our allies joining alongside of us in this effort is long overdue. But you know, obviously we need to make sure that we protect President Trump because he is needed at this moment in time in American history.
We have never needed him more, and we're so lucky to have him as our president right now, Ambassador. This is interesting. We're also learning that the State Department reportedly shut down a meeting that had been scheduled for earlier this week between Iran's UN ambassador and a top official in New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani's office. What do you make of that?
Well, it's so not appropriate. You know, mayors of New York City and their staff should not be conducting the foreign policy of the United States. That's President Trump's job. That's Marco Rubio's job. It's us as diplomats' job to conduct the foreign policy and to make sure the American people speak with one voice through their elected leader in the federal government. And so I'm glad that the State Department shut that down, and it was never appropriate for those meetings or to be attempted to happen.
Yeah, well, this week we heard Secretary General Mark Rutte's message for NATO allies, which is Donald Trump was right. Ambassador, it seems several NATO countries, as you just alluded to, who kind of initially objected to the U.S. action on Iran, have now come around.
They have, and they've come around only because of President Trump's leadership. They see that what he is doing is the correct path. They know that they want to be part of a winning team. And ultimately, while President Trump is good to act with your allies. And it's not just military support either. I want to be clear about this. It's also political support. It is what we saw in the room on Wednesday at the NATO summit. It's that type of support for the United States of America, for what we're doing in the Middle East, and to denuclearize Iran and to make sure that they never have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, I mean, this benefits not just the United States, Ambassador. This is the whole world will benefit from this entire process. And speaking of those NATO allies, over the last year, NATO allies spent more than $130 billion on hard defense assets and close to $1 trillion since President Trump's first term. Now, you've said commitments are not capabilities. So how capable is NATO today facing a threat like Iran or Russia compared to maybe 5 years ago?
Well, I would tell you that I think what President Trump has done with NATO and what our allies have responded is really one of the biggest foreign policy victories of his second term. To get first the Hague defense commitment a year ago, and then what happened in Ankara this week, where you saw our allies delivering on that promise in real money and real capabilities. But we need to make sure that we continue to execute, that our allies stay focused on becoming ready, because what President Trump has set out to do is to have Europe take over the conventional defense of the European continent. And, that's going to be a long-term project, but we are making great strides already. And it's only because of President Trump. It's only because of his leadership. And ultimately, that is going to make the American people safer. It's, as you mentioned, it is bringing not only money to the United States economy and our defense industry, but it's supporting U.S. jobs in many states across the country.
Well, speaking of Europe, I know they're always looking at what's going on with Russia, and Vladimir Putin is now suggesting he might step up the campaign against Ukraine. And Kiev says intelligence shows that Putin is preparing new operations, possibly, Ambassador, beyond Ukraine. Do you think a more capable NATO can quash a potential escalation and maybe get Putin to the negotiating table once and for all?
Yeah, certainly more capable allies that come alongside the United States will deter Russia from taking an aggressive action and will defend NATO if attacked. But remember, NATO is fundamentally a defensive alliance. We stand there to defend the 1 billion people that live in NATO territory and the 32 countries that are members of NATO. But we need to be prepared, we need to be ready, and we need to make sure that we are strong, because that strength, as you know, is what's going to guarantee the peace. I mean, I hear President Trump talk all the time about peace through strength, but the strength is the United States first, because we are the unchallenged world superpower. But if we have strong allies alongside of us, that makes us even look stronger and bigger, and will guarantee peace more effectively long term.
Well, Ambassador, I just want to ask you, we just celebrated America's 250th birthday. You're coming to us right now from Belgium. How did you celebrate, and what do you get in terms of the vibe from, our NATO allies? Were they excited that America's 250 years old as well? Because we celebrated big time here.
Yeah. Well, they do, and because many of them helped us in that effort, whether it was the French showing up in the Chesapeake Bay, whether it was Dutch giving us loans, and there were so many other European allies that stepped up. And so we had a big party in the trilateral mission. And so that's, as you can imagine, we don't have a lot of time to party, but we did take a minute to celebrate July 4th, for sure.
A worthy reason, for sure. Well, we couldn't be happier to have you there. Ambassador Matt Whitaker, thanks for all you do, and thanks for joining us tonight.
All right. Thanks, Laura. Good to see you.
Still ahead, from Trump accounts at birth to a new plan for retirement and addressing inflation and high prices in between. This administration has a plan, and Steve Moore walks us through it next.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.